Euromax highlights. And here's your host, Karin Helmstedt.
Hi there, and welcome to our highlights of the week, which this time around happen to include the following stories. Lasting impression, the works of British sculptor Thomas Houseago. Animated opera, video artist Martin Eidenberger creates film for opera. Into the abyss, diving in a lost village in Norway. Well, it almost seems crazy to imagine that not so very long ago, British sculptor Thomas Houseago was a struggling artist who used to destroy his own creations because no one wanted to have them. But then, like in a fairy tale, he had a chance meeting that helped propel his career to heights that he had never even dared to dream of. So introducing the artist's success story of the decade.
British artist Thomas Houseago is highly sought after these days. His first major exhibition in Europe is also an exclusive display of his works. The venue is one of the most renowned contemporary art institutions, London's Hauser and Wirth Gallery. In the not-too-distant past, Houseago was penniless and ridiculed. But now, his sculptures are commanding a wide audience.
This piece is really, truly the synthesis of an action, of a series of actions, which you can see, and then 2 or 3 different kinds of working that's a lot more like drawing than sculpting technically. So for example, these panels that you can see in their original plaster form, they're made flat on the floor. I make a drawing on the floor, we pour the plaster on top of the drawing, so it's like a poured event. We strengthen the back side of it, and then we pop it off the floor, you know? So they're like drawings that become sculpt objects very, very quickly, like within a half day.
Plaster cast figures with gaping tears. Houseago often works the materials with his hands and feet, leaving impressions. The figures are usually out of proportion and are missing body parts. He breaks with convention, and decorative art has no place in his work. The unfinished, grimacing faces have an unsettling effect. But Houseago knows what he wants.
I'm more comfortable with just saying, hey, that's a nice moment, let's say, or, you know, that says enough, or something like that, you know, and that the activity or the idea of finishing becomes less important. There's kind of a flow across all the works.
Thomas Houseago was born in Leeds in northern England. He comes from a working-class family. In the 90s, he landed a scholarship at Central St. Martin's Art School in London. Inspired by artists like Pablo Picasso, Houseago often uses the simplest of materials. But without a patron, inspiration could only take him so far. Broke and disillusioned, he destroyed his unwanted sculptures in 2003 and left for LA.
When I went to the States, it wasn't romantic. I was really, truly desperate. Me and my wife were like, we're really at the end of the end of the end. And it was like, okay, I knew a friend in LA, Matthew Monahan, the artist, and he said, come and sleep on my floor for a bit, take a get out of Europe.
There, he met French billionaire businessman and patron of the arts, Francois Pinault. In 2011, he asked Houseago to create a sculpture for a private collection at the Palazzo Grassi Art Museum that he owns in Venice. Money was no object, the artist was told. Houseago created a piece that was to become the unofficial icon of the city's art biennale. It proved to be a turning point. Pinault also owns Christie's auction house. So far this year, it has sold 3 of Houseago's works. Figure 2 went for around 190,000 euros. Figure 1 sold for some 100,000 euros. And the sculpture he named Portrait fetched a further 150,000 euros. In just 4 years, Houseago went from obscurity to becoming a hit in the contemporary art world.
Over the years, he's proved that he can work to a very high standard. He works hard, consistently, and is very self-critical. But he also has this personal strength, drive, and energy. He can't do it any other way.
Thomas Houseago is in demand. He has fame and money, but still wants to concentrate on his art. He's learned to appreciate the benefits of his success.
As my dad always said, if you've got the choice between being poor and being rich, always go with being rich. It's just better. It's nice to have, it just takes the pressure off.
Rough and unpolished, a style that has certainly paid off for this artist.
Well, here in Germany, the traditional Oktoberfest is just around the corner, and no wonder this country hosts such a beer extravaganza, considering there are more than 1,300 breweries here. Many of them are newly established micro-breweries, in fact, and Berlin has become a especially fertile ground for these enterprises, so we went on a bit of a pub crawl to see for ourselves.
The restaurant Das Meisterstück in Berlin is holding a beer tasting. Host Frank Waldecker has invited his guests to sample specialities, such as champagne beers, sour beers and smoked beers, all of them brewed in accordance with Germany's purity laws. Carefully selected dishes enhance the taste of the beer.
There are different aromas, different layers. Basically, it's just like a good wine. You smell the bouquet, then let the taste roll from the front to the back of your mouth. And you experience a succession of different flavors with a lingering afternote.
This is beer for a niche market. The microbrewery trend originated in the United States, but it's also taking off in Germany.
You don't just quaff the stuff and feel refreshed. It's about the taste.
It's very, very diverse. It almost has as many nuances as wine.
You wouldn't expect these things in a beer. Notes evocative of light sparkling Riesling or champagne, fruity notes, blackcurrant, raspberry.
The restaurant features 70 different German and international beers. A 0.75-litre bottle usually costs between 10 and 25 euros. But rarities, such as Bouche de Nuit from Belgium, will set you back 60 euros.
Only die-hard fans are willing to pay 50 euros for a bottle of beer. But beers in the 10 euro price category have found quite a following. They realize it's something special and that it comes at a price.
In order to sample and enjoy exclusive beers, German beer drinkers are increasingly opting for a pint in a microbrewery. These often have an attached bar to cater to local markets, places like the Eschenbräu in Berlin. In the last 5 years, more than 100 microbreweries have opened in Germany. The owner of Eschenbräu has 3 different types of beer on offer all year round: Pilsner, dark beer and wheat beer, all of them unfiltered.
Even a straightforward Pilsner can vary greatly. It can be just bitter or bitter aromatic. It can have the craziest types of hops. And if it's unfiltered, the whole thing tastes better anyway. Filtration removes the different flavors and you really miss them.
As well as the 3 main types of beer on the menu at Eschenbräu, there are 15 seasonal beers, such as Stout, Export or a Bavarian lager called Märzen. These beers are relatively rare in Germany. Brewers make them by hand and with a real passion.
You get to follow every step of the production process, from the cracked grain to the finished mash that you pair with yeast, which then slowly starts to ferment. It's this manufacturing process that makes you so proud. You've made your own product, and you hear people say, "That's a good beer."
The dark beer from here tastes a lot better than a beer from a discount store. It's fresh, tasty, and it's sweeter. It's something special.
It's not too bitter. It's very drinkable, simply tasty.
It's fruitier, stronger. It tastes like beer, homemade beer.
Back at Das Meisterstück, it's dessert time. Chocolate brownies with Bavaria's best, a sweet beer with licorice and chocolate notes. The patrons here agree beer is no simple drink. It can be surprisingly subtle and compellingly complex.
Brownies and beer. Well, how's that for a combination? Well, the daylight hours may be fading in the Finnish capital, Helsinki, but local designers could shine all the brighter for it this past week. Helsinki Design Week is one of the most important events on the design scene calendar. And since 2005, it's promoted functional and quirky designs in the tradition of Alvar Aalto and Eero Aarnio. Well, to top it off, this year Helsinki is enjoying a stint as World Design Capital, which means even more fresh wind in the country's already billowing cultural sales.
Finnish design is synonymous with linear clarity and functional purity. Furniture like the ball chair are design classics. Once a year, the industry meets here for Helsinki Design Week. For Finnish designers, the fair is a must.
For me, giving the shape for the furniture is a sculpting, more or less, not just, making functional piece, because for me, the weight is same. It have to function, but it have to be beautiful.
Mikko Paakkonen was named Finland's Designer of the Year and has picked up numerous accolades in the US and Asia. Today, the 37-year-old designs for international manufacturers. Among his exhibits at the design fair are chairs created from a single piece of oak.
The idea of the furniture is that the sound forms, they are going like this when you sound, for example. That was inspiring me, the forms, what comes. And from the sound, and then I started to draw similar kind of lines, and then became the shape for this chair.
The Finnish capital has a spotlight on design. It has a design district that's home to 200 stores. And the city currently reigns as World Design Capital. As a result, the 8th edition of Helsinki Design Week is bigger than ever, with more than 50 exhibitions. The biggest is here in an old warehouse. One of the many reputable designers showcasing their work is Ika Suponen.
For me, Finnish design is not actually a style, it is an idea to help people to live. So the design is made for every social classes and as cheap as possible, as reachable as possible, with industrial production and high quality design.
Suponen's armchair designs are known the world over. This is one of his latest works. Many international designers are also at Helsinki Design Week. Boris Berlin is the co-founder of Complot Design. It's made a name as one of Denmark's most innovative studios. Berlin regularly collaborates with Finnish designers.
There is some special madness in Finnish mentality. So they are doing mad things, which is very good. I think Finnish design will give us a lot.
In the 1930s, Alvar Aalto laid the foundation for the global success of Finnish design. His pared-down furniture and glass objects are among the most enduring classics of modern design. Eero Aarnio's plastic ball chair, or globe chair as it's sometimes called, revolutionized furniture design in the 1960s. Finnish brands like Marimekko can be bought all over the world. 1/4 of Finland's population works for the creative industries in one way or another. Many Finns, including designer Mikko Paakkonen, are proud of that fact.
I guess that it's a very important part of our culture. It's a strong, Finland is a strong design country. Even that we are a small population, there have been really good architects and designers, and I think that it has a big space in our hearts.
Clear, functional, and classic. Drawing tens of thousands of visitors, Helsinki Design Week testifies to the perennial appeal of design from Finland.
Opera isn't for everyone, and as an art form, it's often busy reinventing itself these days in an effort to attract some younger crowds. And that's why Martin Eidenberger is perhaps something of a blessing. As a video artist, he specializes in installations that are meant to complement the opera's traditional audio-visual components. Well, he's already contributed to major productions all across Europe, so we got a front row seat to see how he makes it all work.
This is no cartoon, it's an animation by video artist Martin Eidenberger. He created the film for an opera production of Rossini's Il Turco in Italia.
I'll pause it here. This is a battle between two women, two rivals who are fighting over a man. When the battle begins, it's acted out on stage. Then it continues in the video. It's a fight between rivals, a cat fight, and then it goes on.
The animation made its debut earlier this year at the Nederlandse Opera in Amsterdam. It was projected onto a screen above the stage as one element of the stage production, while the singers continued their live performance below. The animation takes the feud between the two characters to a new dimension.
The joy of theatre is the fantasy world on the stage. It also inspires one's own imagination. Video is a kind of theatrical element that creates many different production options. I think it's completely natural for theatre to embrace such techniques.
Computer animation is just one method employed by the 32-year-old artist. He uses it to create spaces, backdrops, or special stage elements. Sometimes Eidenberger resorts to using more classic video films, as he did for this production of Gisela, that was shown at Germany's Ruhr Triennale International Festival of the Arts. Eidenberger's work is also featured at world-famous festivals including Bayreuth and Salzburg. Eidenberger collaborates with the director and stage designer when it comes to deciding what techniques and effects to use. He wants his work to contribute to the audience's understanding of a piece.
It has to be the right image because that is what communicates the meaning. In my case, the image is a video image, but it still has to evoke something. The interesting thing about it is the idea it conveys.
Eidenberger came to Berlin from Linz in Austria 6 years ago. He broke off his architecture degree to study multimedia art. It's a decision he doesn't regret. Currently, his work can be seen at Berlin's Deutsche Oper in a production of Helmut Lachenmann's The Little Match Girl. The piece is reputed to be one of the most radical works in the history of opera. For the production, Eidenberger recorded film sequences on VHS. These days, video images are an integral part of most opera productions.
It's become totally commonplace. You can tell by looking at what's being done in Salzburg and Bayreuth. They're always ahead in terms of innovation. And you'll see that nearly every production includes video.
I think the most decisive development in the use of video isn't so much the new technical possibilities or the new aesthetic possibilities, but rather the awareness of its use and the effects it can achieve. You don't just decide, yes, we'll use a video. We don't know where, let's stick it at the end somewhere. Nowadays, videos are applied with deliberation.
For video artist Martin Eidenberger, screen and stage aren't mutually exclusive worlds. In his experience, they often strike a note of perfect harmony.
Some pretty provocative ideas there. Well, from perfect harmony, we go now to total silence and to the fjords of southwestern Norway, to a village that is maybe off the map, but not off the minds of certain adventurers. It's submerged underwater, and yet if you're a diver, it's a very exciting expedition, even more so because the government might soon be putting a stop to such activities. So our reporter took the plunge before it was too late.
It's one of Norway's narrowest and steepest valleys, Norangsdalen, on the west coast, about 400 kilometres north of Bergen. And it's notorious for frequent avalanches and landslides. Svein Wulstad loves to come to the area because he knows about a very special place here. The mountain lake Lyngstølvatnet.
It was the 26th of May, 1908. There was an avalanche coming down from this mountain, and it was so big with rocks that it makes a barrier down at the valley. And after that, the water in this river was, of course, rising, and this lake was born.
Svein Wulstad runs a diving centre. He regularly goes diving in the lake. One favourite site is the remains of a village that vanished during the landslide 104 years ago. Remnants of the sunken village can even be seen from the shore. The old country lane leads us to the bottom of the lake. It used to run through the entire valley into the village. The water is just a few degrees above freezing and crystal clear. Even the road marker is still here. This was route number 9. The first signs of the village are its stone walls. Up to 30 people once tended livestock here. Now all is still and quiet at the floor of the lake. Underwater, this bridge made of fieldstone serves little purpose, but once it led over the Lyng, a small mountain brook. It was blocked in the landslide and became this lake. For Svein Wulstad, every dive is a journey into the past.
Yeah, I thought, I look, there's a goat, or there may be a sheep around here, or some cows, and I see people, and I imagine this, and I see the trees, and I see the gates and the fences. It was very good. I feel like being here, and that is good. It's fantastic dive. I think the magic about swimming between the trees. Fantastic when you see the branches and everything. That's good.
These boulders, some of them more than 5 metres wide, are what destroyed the village. It seems like a miracle that no villagers came to harm. The Norwegian government has also taken an interest in the submerged village.
And the government says we have to protect it. And maybe there is a restriction for next year, I don't know. This year it hasn't been any so far, but maybe only areas in the woods that only snorkelers, not divers.
That means today may be one of the last journeys into an underwater world which few people have ever seen.
Fantastic pictures. Well, at least we have managed to see it. We'll have more exciting stories from around Europe in our next edition, including the start of a special series on photography that's entitled A Matter of Perspective. So we do hope you'll take the time to join us for that. Well, until then, from all of us here in Berlin, all the best and thanks very much for watching. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen and bye-bye.